What's up, Santa Clarita? Alex Hollander here, the face of SCV Real Estate. Today, I am with Jack, the branch manager over at Equity Union in Santa Clarita. What's up, man?
How are you?
I'm good. Dude, I'm excited. I'm excited to be doing this little interview, this podcast with you because most people don't know, but I just transferred over to Equity Union in Santa Clarita. And I'm gonna tell you, it's probably one of the best things I've done in my real estate career. So thank you for helping to facilitate that.
I'm grateful to be a part of it.
Awesome. So Jack, tell us a little bit about yourself, like who you are, where you come from, and how are you the branch manager at Equity Union?
Started out in real estate. I started off at 19 years old, worked on my own for a year, found out it was a lot harder to work as an agent at 19 because not everybody trusts you at 19 years old or wants to work with a 19-year-old.
Sure.
And I was really cocky. Everything was about me. I had go with the best.me, you know, that was my website. I was like super young. I wanted everything about my picture, my logo. I was just such a...
Wait, so your website was gowiththebest.me?
That was my website. I have a business card and I'll send you a picture. Maybe you could post it in this video. But yeah, I used to, I was all about, you know, I was focused on the wrong things.
For sure.
If you will.
Gotcha.
Then after you go in the business, after a year in, I closed my first deal. But after finding the deal, working on the deal, closing the deal, looking for more deals, you realize you're like, okay, I don't want to close 5 deals a year. I want to close 50 deals a year, 100 deals a year. How do I do that? I rather give up some commission, learn from the best, go get some good mentorship from a team or some leader. And I did. So long story short, I joined a luxury team in Calabasas. I worked there for 9 months, no pay. And I lost about 50 pounds. I used to be like a 190-pound like running back linebacker type of guy. When I worked for her, everything kind of went down the drain. I closed the deal and I didn't get anything from it. Long story short, I ended up meeting this guy. This guy pulled in the parking lot. My boss in the back. Our room was small. Mm-hmm. She goes, "Oh my God, Harma's here. Harma's here. Oh my God, Harma's here." I'm like, "Who's Harma?" Everybody in the office was panicking. They're like, "Oh my God, Harma's here. Harma's here." I'm like, "Who's Harma?" I see this guy come out with a Cadillac Escalade, suit tailored, nice watch, the watch I wanted. I'm like, man, young, handsome guy. I'm like, who's this guy? So he walked in the office. I went up to the front desk. I said, "Hey, who's this guy Harma?" She goes, "Oh, that's the owner." I'm like, "Oh, wow. He's like 33 years old. How is he so young?" So when he came in, he said something that really connected me with him. He said, "I hate when people think that other people don't notice things. Everybody notices everything." I'm like, wow, I resonate with this guy. And long story short, I wanted to talk to him, but I didn't want him to think I'm not loyal to my team. So I didn't kind of approach it at all. I just introduced myself and moved on. Long story short, when some time came by, I reached out to him and I asked him for an opportunity and he gave me a shot. 9 years later, he opened up his own brokerage and I used to run his team over the 8 years I was with him. He asked me if I would like to take a leadership role. So I took the Santa Clarita branch.
Nice.
And yeah.
Did you know anything about Santa Clarita before you came out?
Yeah, I had family that lived there growing up. I grew up mostly in Burbank.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. One of the things when I first met you that kind of stood out to me, maybe not when I first met you, but in conversations that we've had after I first met you, is you said something to me about, and not verbatim, but you said, when you walk into a room, you typically will focus or find the person who's not connected with somebody because you don't like seeing somebody just like on their own, not connecting with the group, like at networking events and things like that. And I can see how like Harma kind of said that to you, right? And like and that trickled down into what you said to me. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of liked what you guys had going on. That simple little like moment where you said, look, I like to connect with the people that don't look like they're connected with people. Because everybody has a story, everybody's important, right? And there's opportunity in situations like that. And so that resonated with me, and thank you for saying that to me, because now when I go to these networking events, I make sure I do that.
Yeah.
Right? Because you never know who you're going to encounter, who you're going to meet. You might meet a client, you might meet a friend for life. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
And it's that same feeling like in middle school, before everybody's kind of finds themselves or their confidence. Everybody's eating lunch alone.
Yeah.
Or, and I always found it to be, I'll be honest with you, I learned this during the awards ceremony when I first joined Harma's team. It was my second year with Harma, and we were sitting at the awards ceremony as a team, and Harma, he wore 2 hats. He was the owner of the office, but then he also had a team that sold real estate. Around the second year, I started leading the team, and we were sitting down at the table, and he came and he was so mad. He like put his fist down on the table and he looked at me, and he's like, looked straight at me. He goes, "Why are you guys sitting here?" And then he looked at everybody, and I'm like, nobody said anything. So I looked at him and I said, "Well, we're just waiting for the award ceremony to start." And he looked at me, he's like, "We still have 10 minutes. Look at him. He's eating by himself. Look at her. She's scared to look up. She's looking at her phone. You go over there. You go over there." And he made us all spread out. And within 5 minutes, I felt the room and the energy in the room shift. So
Yeah, man, and that's everything. That shift in energy changes not only conversations, but it just changes everything going on there, and it's super important. So that was the story. So I think that was the exact story you told me, and that story was what resonated. And I had never met Harma before coming over here. We talked maybe 2 or 3 times. Met you at the SRAR event again. And you're like, "Dude, why aren't you here yet?" And I was like, "I'm just taking my time. You know, I'm filling things out."
Yeah.
But Equity Union was always kind of at the top of my plate. I just needed to see what was out there, you know.
Of course.
Being in this business 3 years, I was with the same company for the entire time. So the shift over to Equity Union was a big deal for me, you know.
I'm sure.
Yeah, you know, in hindsight, it's like, okay, paper sign, we're here, it's done, let's get to work. But there was a lot of like background stuff going on leading up to it, you know.
I understand. And honestly, I respect the loyalty for you not shifting around to different brokerages that easily. So I understand. But even when I started, I went to like 14 brokerages just to interview because I thought the first one liked me and wanted me so bad. I don't have anything to offer.
Right.
So I started interviewing others, but not because I thought I wanted more from anybody, no, but it was more for a self-discovery process. So
Yeah.
I know it's kind of like when you show a buyer all the homes, even though they're happy with one of them, just showing them all will kind of give them the peace of mind.
It helps seal the deal.
It helps seal the deal, yeah.
Because you go to one place and you're like, oh, you know, no offense, but you go to one place, you're like, I can never be there. There's no way that's not me, you know?
Right. Or even if they walk into the house they love, they don't know that they love it until they go see the other 4 that are in their criteria that don't look so good.
Right. Yeah, but Equity Union, man, great. So branding is on point. Everything is, I opted to go with like the luxury branding because I just feel like it looks classy, it looks good. I'm a big branding guy. Everything that I do is hyper-focused on the city that I live in, which is Santa Clarita. So to have the branding that's like just on point and then what I'm already doing to kind of mesh them together, I just feel like is a great recipe for success for my business, which is kind of why I took that jump. And one of the things that I really liked is maybe something that somebody else wouldn't like about coming over. You guys are still building, or when I say you guys, we are still building in Santa Clarita. You know, it's still kind of like a project per se, right? We don't have market share out there. We're not the biggest player yet. And I kind of like the challenge of doing that, right? I could have went to another company who has that, right? But I really liked the competitive aspect of like, I can come in here and really help them kind of lay roots, help myself lay roots with them, and we can grow together. That was really important to me, really important to what I was doing, because no matter where I was going to go, I was going to come to a Santa Clarita office.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you giving us the opportunity and trusting us. You know, without the trust of our agents, we're not in business, you know? So Harma always says our assets have legs. They can walk out on us at any time.
Yeah.
So what I love about our company is there's no honeymoon phase. It's always honeymoon phase, you know? So it's not like something changes after a while. It starts at the top. So it's like we want to make sure that we build our agents up and we come with service and value, and like anybody in our staff, they're trained to make sure that anything that they finish, any sentence they finish off with, ends with my pleasure.
I like it. It's like Chick-fil-A.
It's like Chick-fil-A, you know, it's like the hospitality industry. You know?
Yeah, which is funny because I came from that background. So I think that's why I resonate well with what's going on here, because I ran a hotel. I understand customer service. I understand how important it is, right? And I do think in real estate, sometimes that gets lost, especially when you're a high producing agent, and you're making all this money, and, you know, some people are just jerks, you know, and having that customer service like emphasis, I think goes a long way, and it makes a huge difference. You know?
It does, and especially because real estate is I don't want to say it's a lonely business, but it's a lonely business. You're kind of, you're on your own. And if you don't have a staff that you can talk to and chat with about sometimes, if not work-related problems, your own things, ask a marketing team for help, ask a branch manager to help you get your offer accepted with another agent that you might not know, asking compliance for a second opinion. All of these things, it gets kind of dark and it can get kind of boring. you
Yeah.
know? So it's just nice to have that culture. So.
Absolutely. And culture is so important. I like that you mentioned culture because I could tell the culture here was like, bar none, like dialed in, right?
Yeah.
It was dialed in very, very well. And culture is kind of everything for me because that helps, as an agent, that helps my momentum to
Right.
know that like I have a company that's kind of that has my back. We recently met, and one of the things that you hammered home on was about leverage. And using leverage, because I've never really leveraged people well, aside from my wife, who's like my TC / like assistant partner, but I had that conversation with you, and you just gave me some simple ideas, and I'm the type of guy, if you say one thing to me, my mind is just exploring all the possibilities of what could be, right? And expanding on stuff. And so that conversation alone had me really thinking about like, what really can I leverage, and what can I give up? And the marketing department here, just everything that's all included there just makes my life so much easier in this first couple weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can only get better as time goes,
Yeah, that was one of our biggest kind of focuses when we became Equity Union and an independent brokerage. Harma used to have a team that sold real estate. But when we became Equity Union, he became the only owner of Equity Union, of course. So he said, I don't want to compete against my own agents. I'm going to take away the sales team. So our sales team kind of got dismantled. What was cool about our sales team was Harma had the team running the way he wanted it to run, which allowed him to hire a staff for marketing and force all of the salespeople to focus on nothing but sales. So nobody was wasting their time making a post or coming up with a flyer. They were always on the phone or out on the field.
Yeah.
Which is the best thing for the clients, really.
Absolutely.
So when Harma opened up Equity Union, he basically ran the company like he ran his team.
Got it.
He was able to hire a marketing staff. So he was able to tell the agents, hey, we got your back. Don't worry about things that don't make money per hour.
Yeah.
Go focus on the big money producing activities.
That's cool.
So that's kind of what you were
Yeah.
mentioning.
When you say big money producing activities, you've mentioned it. We haven't really ever talked about this or explored it, but you mentioned that you were like cold call extraordinaire. Like that was your bread and butter. Like that was your like.
I didn't start off that way, but
Oh yeah. Well, like if you had a special power, your special power in real estate was cold calling. It sounds like, which I'm the opposite. I hate cold calling, bro. Like it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But I can be persuaded. It's just for me. Like I've always in my mind thought cold calling was like treating people like a number. But I also understand there's like another aspect of it, right? Like so let's talk about that. I would love to kind of hear it because I would love to be persuaded. I'd love to try it. I hate the rejection. You know what I mean? And that that can definitely like decrease my mood if I'm getting rejected like 10 times in a row. I'm like, this sucks. I'm done.
I met with you because of cold calling.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, cold calling is game changer for me. I mentioned earlier, I retired my family from cold calling. So it was, let me tell you how I started in real estate so you know my idea. So when I first started in real estate, I went up to the broker. I was like, hey, what do I got to do? I was 19. And he's like, you're going to have to do one of two things. You're going to door knock or you're going to cold call. I'm like, in my mind, 19 years old, you're cocky, you think you know everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, cold call or door knock? I didn't come in this business to do that. I'm going to show property and look all cool and drive a nice car or whatever. So I didn't question him. I did exactly what he says. So I asked him, I said, where do I get a list of numbers? He said, go to the front desk and get it. I didn't think, but I was just asked her, I was like, can I get a list? She gave me the same list she gives everybody. So without thinking, I started at the top like everybody and called the guy that starts with an A.
Yeah.
And that guy ripped me a new one. And he's like, Brenda, give me my shotgun. I'm going to go over there to Keller Williams and shoot these guys. I'm like, oh my God, I was so scared.
Yeah.
And I was in this little booth where you cold call and I hung up and I'm like, I'm never doing this again. I said, I'm going to go door knock. I'll charm people over the door. When I went and door knocked, I came back and he's like, how was your door knocking? I said, oh, good. This guy told me to come back on Thursday. He's like, you got a listing appointment? And I was like, what's a listing appointment? I had no idea.
Wow, so you just were thrown out there.
Really new. Like it was my second day.
Okay.
And I was door knocking in a black suit with like some Hugo Boss shoes. So long story short, I ended up going on the appointment with one of the mentors, and we didn't get it, but she became like my real estate mama, and she helped me door knock every day. Fast forward, I found a deal from an open house, closed it, but then I'm like, wow, that was tough. for me to close that deal after 4 months of looking at property. So I went up to the broker. I was like, hey, can I be a buyer's agent for one of the big agents out here? I heard he needs a buyer's agent. And he's like, no, you're a listing agent. That's where the power is, which I respect. And that's the way he should have told me. Long story short, they gave the buyer agent position to like a family member. So I thought it was kind of like,
Yeah.
my loyalty kind of went out the window.
Right.
So I found a buyer's agent position in Calabasas. When I was in Calabasas, my job was a buyer's agent only. That's the reason why I didn't get paid for my listing,
Gotcha.
which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
If anybody on my team is a buyer's agent, brings in a listing, they're going to eat.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
But I worked for her for 7 months, and I would cold call in a room maybe this big. My desk would face the window, and she would face me. And so every call, I would finish the call, I would have a lesson to learn.
Like get a critique.
Yes, and over time, it just built a lot of my confidence.
That's great.
So when I came and met with Harma, and he gave me a list to call, within the first day I had 3 appointments. We had 3 listings within the first month.
Wow.
It gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Especially because I had a closer with me that knows how to care about people. So that's where I learned the rest of my business.
Yeah. That's cool. And I never explored it much. You know, I was like, I'll go door knock, because door knocking, I look at his face, you know. And I just say,
That's
like,
right.
but
That's
like
right.
with door knocking, it's a lot easier. You can build rapport, in my opinion. But everybody has a different, and that's what I love about real estate. Everybody just has a different superpower, thing that they can kind of act on. And when you can get 2 or 3 of those things just rolling at once, it's just the momentum is there. And,
Yeah.
And yeah. So, how are you feeling, man?
I'm feeling grateful, man. I love everything that's going on. I love our company. I love our people. I love the energy that we have. I love the culture we're building. I love our vision. This is everything Harma talked about 2 years ago, and it's kind of coming, together now. And there's things he's talking about for 2 years from now that we understand are going to be coming and growing with the company. So I'm, extremely happy to be here.
Well, what's your guys' vision, or your vision really, for Santa Clarita? Like, what's the goal there? Like, is the growth trajectory, like what's that look like for you?
So great question. We want to be the #1 office in Santa Clarita, and more importantly, we want to have good quality agents that have integrity, that are honest, that are good people, good for the culture. Just because somebody's the top producer, they might not be the best fit for our agents in our company. So we want to expand our office. We want to become #1 in market share in Santa Clarita, and we just want to continue growing with the right people.
Yeah, it's coming. We will be #1 in market share. I promise that.
We will.
It might take a little while, but it's coming.
Like anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Tell me, this is like kind of giving me props, I guess, but whatever. It's for the clips, Tell me how you heard about me. How our conversations went. Like, what were your first impressions, even if they were terrible impressions? Like, tell me about me, basically. Like,
no, I'm glad you asked. So honestly, when I met you because I heard of your name from other people.
Okay.
They're like, oh, Alex, that's the guy from the What's Up SCV. That's the guy. And obviously, everybody knows What's Up SCV from just being in Santa Clarita. And I was like, oh, interesting. I never met Alex. So when I saw you at an event, I never said hi to you. I think we were like really far, but like I saw your face. Then one day I ended up going to a broker's open, and I specifically went to yours because I saw your name. So I wanted to introduce myself, see who you, get to know you. To be honest with you, when you judge a book by its cover, when I saw your videos, I was like, man, this guy might be like too busy, too cool to like talk to me, or like, he's not gonna give me time of day. I was like, let me just give it a shot. So, but you were so down to earth, you were so classy, you were so kind, you were very open to, what I love about you is you keep your options open. And you were not like, oh, I'm closed off because I'm, better and doing it my way. And you were always open to seeing what is out there that could benefit you. So I think it was great and mature of you to think that way. And when I met you, I think a lot of people that don't know you can be intimidated by your content. They might think you're, just like I mentioned, maybe too busy for them or whatever it is, or, too cool or whatever. But I think that when they meet you, it's a nice shock.
For sure.
It's a very nice shock. It's like, oh man, Alex is so cool. Alex is so kind. He's a pleasure to speak to, pleasure to be around. So it was an eye opener, but I'm also grateful that you came to our company because they're like, oh my God, Alex is here. So it's a compliment. You know,
For sure,
people
yeah.
are very happy to have you with us.
Yeah, and I'm happy to be there too. So feel free to say hi. I'm not mean or
Yeah,
whatever.
definitely say hi to Alex.
Yeah, I try to keep that customer service thing across the board, even with other agents and people in the industry. Relationships are really really key.
And not a lot of people know about your background, and
They
your
don't.
background is very humbling.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah.
you know, and I don't know if you want to share with them, but you were in the hospitality industry. You were in
Yeah, I was a minister. I was a pastor of a church for a handful of years. So all of those things actually like converge into this like I feel like this. I don't want to say perfect, but like this really well-rounded kind of. I just feel like I'm in the perfect spot at the perfect time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not only with my background, but even my age. Like I know if I was in this business when I was 18, 19, even up to 21, like sure I would have probably got a lot of experience, and I know myself, I would have got the ball rolling. But I mean, being in my 30s, my mid 30s, like everybody in my peer group is buying property right now, right? So all of a sudden my SOI is blowing up, my referrals are starting to tap in, right? And all of that compounds with what I've been doing the last couple of years. I just feel like I'm in this sweet spot, and that's again one of the reasons why I decided to come over, because I just feel like I needed to be in a bigger ocean with bigger people, right?
capitalize on it. Yeah.
Not just capitalize, but learn from the people, like learn from the people around me. Being at a company where I was before and being like in the top 5 since I started every single year, every single month, it's great. The accolades are there. It's cool to kind of have people like know you and want to like shake your hand and stuff. But at some point there is a ceiling, and I do like that I'm at a place where there's better producers than me, better agents than me, when it comes to longevity and experience. There's a lot to learn, and I also think there's a lot that people can learn from me, and I'm an open book too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever need anything, we're open book.
For sure. Yeah. I love it. I love this little sit down interview. I wanted to wrap up with something kind of fun. Actually, two quick things to wrap up with fun. So when I got to know you a little bit better, you were like, "Yo, man, you into hip hop at all?" And I was like, "Actually, I am." And you're like, what do you listen to? And then I told you, and then you were like, you listen to like Chingy? And I was like, yeah. So like, tell us about your like hip hop like passion, I guess. Like, what are you into?
I like all types of music, you know, but I love hip hop.
Okay.
The reason I asked you about Chingy is because I feel like you're in the same like generation as like my brother and I.
The 2000s-ish.
The early 2000s hip hop, And I had just came back from playing golf, and this attorney I was with, who was like paired up with us, he was the attorney for the NFL.
Okay.
And really good golfer. And he was playing early 2000s hip hop. So we were driving around, we were having a blast. So I was just in that, like,
You're like, I like it when you do it right there. That's funny.
Yeah, it was, so I asked y'all when we were sitting down, I was like, I wonder if he likes early 2000s hip hop. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was the era, definitely. And it's fun going back. Like, What's Up SB, you mentioned them. Like, they have these like 2000s nights. And sometimes I'll go just because it's fun to like be out. And
where do they have these? You got to invite me.
We were there at the Trocadero.
Oh, that was it?
They empty the whole place out and they put it in the back. We went to a comedy show at this place, but they use that place for everything, bro. Like they'll take all the tables out. The inside is like an indoor like dance hall, and then they have a huge outside area as well, where it's like an outdoor, and they have 2 different like genres of music. But they do 2000s nights pretty regularly because I think there's a lot of like 30, 40-year-olds that are in Santa Clarita looking for something to do. You know what I mean?
Plus the music's better.
Yeah, for sure. But like it.
But you're right. Yeah.
Like it's just super nostalgic and throwback, and it's kind of fun, and it was a good era for music.
Of course.
For dance music, for sure.
Yeah, definitely dance music.
So since we're on the topic though, like what would you say is like your favorite? Because you're kind of like a new resident to the SCV. Like you have family out here and stuff like that, but like you recently bought like property out here and you live out here. So like, what would you say is your favorite thing in Santa Clarita?
Oh, that's a good question.
Let's go with restaurant.
Okay. You're gonna, man. I don't even want to talk about restaurant. There's a place that has the best sandwich.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'll go there over a restaurant.
Really?
Oh my God. So there's this place called Valley Marketplace. Okay, in Bridgeport.
Yeah.
All right. It's like a Middle Eastern grocery store.
Yeah.
In the back, there's a guy who has like a little deli, and his little store is called So Fre, like So Fresh, but without the S at the end.
Okay.
And he has the best chicken shawarma sandwich.
Really?
So if you ever want a chicken shawarma sandwich, and it's like $10, dude. It's like amazing, and it's huge. So it's very healthy, very filling, and it's priced well too.
I gotta try that out. I don't go there that often. I don't get to that like the Bridgeport area very often.
I charge my car, so like I'll
Oh,
charge
yeah,
the
they
car
have
and
all
I'll
those
walk right
chargers.
in.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I lie. I go to the Marstons. I go there
Exactly.
often.
They're right across from
yeah,
Marstons.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. That's cool. And then, okay, so non-restaurant.
Man, non-restaurant.
Or like, what do you do? Like, if you're like, man, I got nothing to do this week. I want to go somewhere cool in Santa Clarita. I don't know. It's kind of hard because we're a growing city, so there's not a whole lot of like fun.
No,
things.
honestly, it's cool. Like you look, I like to go golfing, but I don't get to go often. I just started getting into biking.
Okay.
So biking is really cool in Santa Clarita because
Yeah.
of all the bike paths.
Yeah.
I love how clean everything is. It's like a fake Dr. Seuss town. You know?
I can see it. Yeah.
The trees everywhere, like the roads are so like mapped out and clean. The white streets, so it's a beautiful place to be. And I know the schools are great too. From just from everything that we see, and I think that it's nice that it has like the Cube. Like
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like things like that or like the Paseo Club. I know out in the valley you have things like that, but still, it's nice to have like a. Well, I don't think we have a hockey rink out here in the valley.
Yeah.
You know.
Mentioning the Paseo Club, they literally called me yesterday, and because I'm hosting that SCV like networking event thing.
Yeah.
So they reached out and were like, hey, we would like to host your next one. And I was like, look, I'm not paying you though. You can absolutely host it. We love to go there, but there's a 60, 70 other business owners that have establishments that we can go to, so I'm not going to pay for it. Like, no, we want you to come, we want you to check it out. So I'm actually going there on next week on Tuesday to kind of like look at the place because I've never been there.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to like work a little deal because my daughter plays tennis and they have like tennis classes there and stuff like that. So the Paseo Club, never been there, lived in Santa Clarita for 8 or 9 years now and I haven't been there, so I want to check it out.
Yeah, I haven't been. I've heard good things though.
Yeah. So, but Santa Clarita is great. It's a beautiful town. Everything you said is true. Development in Santa Clarita is going crazy in the next decade. There's so many new things coming, so many new homes being built. So we're like in a prime like spot for like future growth.
I agree, and I think with the studios that are proposed to be built, eventually, in my opinion, I feel I can see Santa Clarita being like a new Burbank.
For sure.
You know? And I think Newhall is the place to be.
Yeah, Shadowbox Studio was coming.
Yeah.
And you're right. Main Street it's a very interesting place.
Yeah.
If you knew the history of Main Street, knew the history of Newhall, it's like interesting, but it works. You know what I mean? So I always feel whenever I drive into Newhall, coming off the 14, I always feel like I'm in a Western movie. Like
I love that feeling.
Yeah, but like it's weird, and then you get to downtown Main Street, and you're like, oh, there's a bunch of bars,
Modern,
and like it's like it's cool.
But it's cool because 5 seconds after you pass 2 exits, and you're like in modern new construction.
Right.
But I love how the city made Newhall keep the character. So like if they wanted to update their properties, a lot of the commercial buildings had to keep it like a barn style. Things like that. So I love that because when you go to the desert. You like Palm Springs, you see the mid-century. You everything has its character, and it's sad to let it go away.
For sure, and that area and all of Santa Clarita has like this really rich, not only Western history, but if you look at the history of it, I mean, it was like the Wild Wild West. I mean, like panhandling, gold, not gold diggers. What are they?
Mining?
Like gold miners. There might be some gold
Early
diggers.
2000s.
Yeah. But like the gold miners would go out there during that like California rush and like bandits and all kinds of crazy like just history stories. It's sometimes I just go on these deep dives into the history of the SCV. It's just random and a lot of
the
cool
old
stuff.
road. Talking
Yeah,
about the old road.
yeah. There's so much, dude. Like every little town has its own little stories and stuff, and it's just fun. And a lot of people that live in Santa Clarita, I mean, they've been there, especially the homeowners. They've been there. The town is only like 35 years old, like as official. But there's people that have families that have been there for hundreds of years. You know what I mean? So it's just an interesting place, and I love it out there. So that's why I do what I do and focus on ICV. But yeah, man, this was great. I love it. I feel like we got a lot of good content. How about you?
Yeah, no, it was great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anything you want
to... you know what? I just wanted to tell everybody thanks for watching. And Alex is going to be, our next young star. And I'm really grateful to be a part of the journey. And if you guys ever need anything regarding real estate, regarding our brokerages, reach out to Alex, reach out to me, and we'll chat.
I love that he said young, because I'm not that young. I just pretend.
He's our future, one of our future agents. So.
Awesome. Thank you. That's it. We're good.